Playing by ear is a pretty awesome skill that lets you put your personal spin on songs and show off your musical creativity. But trust me, there are a lot of mistakes that people run into. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through some of the more common pitfalls and share some tips to help you achieve the skill of playing by ear even faster. Whether you're a beginner looking to get started or an intermediate player wanting to improve your skills, this video will provide some practical tips and help you save time while having less stress on your musical journey. So stay tuned. So the first mistakes that a lot of beginners and intermediate players make is not developing a strong foundation. And when we talk about strong foundation, we're talking about scales, chords, technique, learning the mechanics as to how to move around the piano. That's what we call the foundation. And so many people skip over that. They just go straight into, I want to learn a song and show me a few chords so I can play a song. But remember, we're talking about these fingers right here. A lot of little muscles that needs to be trained. So when you see me playing, and it looks effortless, you know, it looks like my fingers have a mind of their own. They're just finding the keys and the notes. That comes from years of practice. Now, I'm not saying it's going to take you years and years and years before you're able to just play one good song on the piano. No, but it's going to take you some time to get the fingers accustomed to the piano. That's what we call building a foundation. And so many people overlook the importance of that. They just think, if I just learn some chords, I'll be good. So when we say practice your scales, practice your block chords, broken chords, arpeggios, those things aren't just random things we're trying to load you up on to keep you distracted or so not to learn the juicy stuff. It is really important. And so you might not see the benefit of doing those activities yet, but you have to trust the process. For someone like myself who has gone through it, I'm telling you, you will see how these things come in handy down the road. You're not going to be able to see the full big picture as a beginner, as a self-taught pianist. And so you have to trust the process. So don't skip over the foundation, all right? The second mistakes that a lot of beginners and intermediate players suffers from is impatience. Learning to play the piano by ear takes time and practice. Students may become frustrated if they don't make quick progress and give up too soon. And I'm telling you, I was guilty of this for many years because, I mean, you know, you're plowing along 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month pass, and you're still struggling to play a basic song. Of course, it's going to get frustrating and you start to get impatient. But this is something we got to curb. And that's why you always hear people say, enjoy the journey. Don't focus on the destination. That's something that needs to become your mantra. You need to find little nuggets of things to celebrate and to feel proud about each time you practice. Little wins, because those are the things that's going to give you the drive and the momentum and the endurance to go the mile that you need to go so you can start to see drastic improvement. So if you're plowing away and you've only been doing this for a few weeks and you feel like you haven't seen anything, a few weeks is not a long time. You have to allow more time to see growth. So I always tell my students, listen, you need to invest 6 months at minimum of consistent, regular practicing and tutoring before you start to see the light of the end of the tunnel. So if you've only invested a month, and that month you spend sort of just skimming YouTube and browsing videos, trying to find nuggets of informations and silver bullets, that's not really dedication. When I say 6 months, I'm talking about you need to be enrolled in some form of program, working with some form of tutor or a mentor so you can get clear directions on what to do and how to do it, what to practice, and then you need to go home and put in your part. You have to practice. And you need to do this for at least 6 months before you see progress. So if you know in your heart you haven't done any of those things, you cannot then say, this thing is not work out, or maybe I'm just not cut out for this. You gotta give yourself time and you have to put in the work, and then after 6 months, reevaluate the results and see where you are. I guarantee you, you'll surprise yourself. You'll probably improve way beyond where you thought you would have been in that 6 months. So try to exercise a little patience, all right? Mistake number 3 that a lot of beginners and intermediates make is not seeking guidance. Learning to play the piano by ear is already a challenging task, but trying to do so on your own will make the process twice as difficult. You will benefit tremendously from guidance of a teacher or a mentor who can provide feedback, help you to develop necessary skills to play by ear. And in this day and age where YouTube has hundreds of thousands of video tutorials on learning piano, a lot of people think, I just need a handful of YouTube videos and that will turn me into a piano wizard. Now, there are a few people out there who can learn very well on their own with just, scattered resources. But for the majority of us, if you're anything like myself, you kind of need some hand holding. You need guidance. You need tutoring. And so while YouTube, there's a lot to learn. I mean, you're watching me on YouTube now. There's a lot to learn from YouTube, a lot of little information you can pick up. It is not the best place for cohesive learning. Learning the piano is an art, it's a skill, and you can save so much time if you have someone to tell you what to do, how to do it, and when to do it. You save a lot of pitfalls. You don't have to develop bad habits that you then have to spend months trying to unlearn. It's the fastest way. Having someone who knows what they're doing, teaching you a skill is the fastest way to learn. And in this day and age, there are a lot of ways to do it. There are a lot of very good, credible online piano tutors, including myself. And there are also a lot of very good offline piano teachers. But for many of us, having an offline teacher within our immediate radius, within a mile radius, is not always accessible. And so you should seek out that. If you want to learn piano, save yourself the stress and the headache of trying to do it on your own. Get a tutor and see how that works out for you, okay? Mistake number 4 beginners and intermediates make when learning the piano is neglecting ear training. Playing by ear requires a well-developed ear for music, right? A lot of people often make this mistake of not investing enough time in ear training, which includes recognizing intervals, chords, melodies, and progressions by ear. I have an app called Active Ear, and you can download that from the App Store. I'm going to link to it down below. And in that app, we have a lot of ear training exercises that covers a lot of the important things that you need to know and learn about to play by ear. But remember, it says so in the title, playing piano by ear. You cannot play by ear if you're not actively developing your ear. A lot of people would argue that ear training is the most important skill for people who want to play by ear, and I would agree. Technique is important, but we have to hold technique and ear training side by side. Ear training wins all the time. It is the most important skill. You have to be actively developing your ear, and there are a lot of ways to do it. It's not a shoot in the dark guessing game. There are practical ways to figure out what you're hearing. And over at pianolessonwithwarren.com, we have a transcription program. Call it Transcription Club, where we do weekly assignments and we learn how to transcribe actual real songs. And I walk you through step-by-step guidance as to the things you need to follow in transcribing a song. I eventually turn a lot of that into a PDF. My steps, things to keep in mind when you're transcribing, and I'm going to make that PDF free for download. I'm going to link to that also down below. You can download that PDF and you see my step-by-step guide. So when you're transcribing a song, you know what to listen for. Transcription is a process. Ear training is a process. So don't skip over ear training. Mistake number 5 musicians make, wanting to learn by ear, is relying too heavily on sheet music. A lot of students who are formally trained use sheet music as a crutch when trying to play by ear. It's essential to wean yourself off that sheet gradually to enhance your skill of playing by ear. Common mistakes. People who come from the classical world, people who were formally trained, learn how to play piano by sheet. They think, well, I'm learning pop songs, or I'm learning gospel songs. Or I'm learning jazz songs, so if I read it from a score, that's playing by ear. No. If you're using any sheet at all to learn a song, you're not playing by ear, you're playing by sheet. So if you only know how to read music, when we say wean yourself, it's better to jump from reading score notation to a lead sheet, right? Lead sheet oftentimes just have the chords and the melody, or the chords and the lyrics. So that's one step removed from musical notation, because now you're forced or challenged to work out the chords. You got to figure out the chords. When you see an A with a 7, what does that mean? Oh, it's an A7. And you have to then think about, how am I supposed to play an A7? So it forces you to learn more about chord theory and about chord voicing. So while you might still be reading the chords, you're not relying on full-on notation. So that's one step removed. And then after a while, the next step is to get rid of the lead sheet altogether and start to figure out the chords by ear using the number system. So if you want to learn by ear and you're like, well, should I enroll in a notation program? No. If you want to learn to play by ear, reading notes will help you zero in learning to play by ear. It's not a skill that allows you to play by ear. Now, if you want to learn to play by sheet and read scores, you can, but you need to do so knowing that you're learning a separate skill. It's not going to then manifest into you being able to play by ear. And vice versa, you being able to play by ear has nothing to do with you learning how to read music. Two separate skills. So when you're going into this, you need to know that. If you want to learn to play by ear, you have to wean yourself off sheet music. That's it. Mistake number 6 that pianists makes is not breaking down songs into smaller parts. When you're learning a song by ear, a lot of beginners and intermediates try to learn the entire song and wondering why they're overstressed and, frustrated and all of that. You got to learn a song in parts. And so a lot of song follows the format of an introduction, then you may have a verse, chorus, second verse, then a bridge. These are the different sections of a song. It's better to focus on one section at a time. My philosophy is go to the section that sounds the easiest to learn. The one that doesn't have too much chords, doesn't have too much rhythmic complexity. Find the easiest section and just focus on that. Focus on what's going on there. Then you move to the next easier section. The PDF that I talked about earlier about transcribing a song, we talk about some of the processes as to how to transcribe a song. And a lot of that applies to when you're learning a song. So you learn a song in parts, you look for similarities of where the chord progressions are the same or has some similarities, and you work on those. And that's how you learn it in part. And then eventually you can play the entire song. But don't try to learn the entire song at once. That's a recipe for disaster. Mistake number 7 students make when trying to learn by ear is they focus heavily on the melody. Melodies are often the easiest part to pick out by ear, right? But students often neglect learning the chords, harmonies, and bass line, which are crucial for a complete understanding of a song. Most of what you're going to be doing as a pianist, especially if you're playing church or you want to be able to accompany singers, most of what you're going to be doing is playing chords. And so if you want to learn to play by ear, most of your time needs to be spent on understanding harmony, understanding chords, understanding progressions, and understanding how to play those. The opportunity for learning melody lines, licks, runs, and all of that will come and comes later. But at the beginner stage, it's better to start learning and understanding chords and harmony. Don't focus on too much on the melody, because the melody, remember, the piano is a harmonic instrument. Yes, it's a melodic instrument and a rhythmic instrument, but it's also a harmonic instrument. So you don't want to treat it like a flute or a saxophone, where those instruments can only play single notes. The piano has a lot more skills, but most of what we do is play chords. And so it's better to focus on that first before focusing on melodies. Mistake number 8 made by students wanting to learn piano by ear is that they ignore rhythm and timing. Paying attention to the rhythm and timing of a piece or of a song is essential. Students may make this mistake of neglecting This aspect resulting in a lack of precision and disjointed performance. So there are a lot of apps now on the market that helps you to improve your rhythm. And one of the ways you can improve your rhythm is that consistently practicing with a metronome. You can go old school with the tick, tick, tick metronome, or something more modern, practice toward an actual drum groove, a drum loop. I prefer that option because it puts you into the mood of a song, a music, something that you can start to immediately create music to. Even if you're just practicing a scale, it feels like you're playing something that's more musical and help you to develop a better sense of rhythm and timing. So if you're not practicing to something metronomic, a drum beat, a drum loop, or even just an old school metronome, you're doing yourself a disservice, right? And this rhythm thing is going to haunt you forever. You have to start practicing to those things today, and that will improve your rhythm. Mistake number 10 is not analyzing the music. Understanding the structure, key, and harmony of a song is crucial for playing by ear. Some students may fail to analyze the music and instead try to play everything by trial and error. So if you find yourself guessing what chord comes next, or if you go blank and you're like, what am I supposed to be doing? That's because you haven't done enough analysis of the song. Now, analyzing a song, if it's not something you've done before, this is a skill that kind of need to be taught. And this is part of what we do over at pianolessonwithwarren.com. Because when we're analyzing a song, we're looking at the chords, but we're looking at their relationship to the key. So whenever someone's learning a song, I highly recommend that they don't just focus on the chord letters. Oh, I'm playing a C, then I'm playing an F, then I'm playing an A. If you find yourself thinking like that, think rather numbers. I'm on the 1, now I'm on the 6, now I'm on the 4, now I'm on the 5. Now when you think about numbers, you're thinking about the chord's relationship within the key. That's part of the analytical process that allows you to be able to retain the song. So you know, I'm on the 6. Okay, what usually comes after 6? 2. Or what usually comes after 2? 5. You learn about chord progressions, tendency chord, how chords usually resolve. You learn about chord quality, major chord versus minor chords. Knowing that the 2, 3, and 6 are minor, the 1, 4, and 5 are major, the 7th is diminished. All of that is theory, and it also falls under the analysis of a song. So when people are saying, man, I can't remember the song, part of that is that they haven't analyzed. Once you've analyzed, you realize memorization comes a lot easier and a lot quicker, and you retain that memorization a lot longer. So don't overlook the ability to analyze songs. And this skill is better learned when you get help. So you know how to do it and how to do it efficiently, opposed to this trial and error guessing game. And the last tip we're going to look at, the last mistakes that a lot of students make, is not using tools and resources. Students often overlook the helpful tools available, such as apps, software, and online tutorials that can assist in ear training, learning chords, improving rhythms, and transcription. We're living in an age now where AI is becoming even more prevalent, and so that is accelerating a lot of app creation that can really help you to enhance your skills. I did a video a few weeks ago on 6 apps that every pianist should know or should be using, and those are really interesting apps. One of them is the ear training app. It helps you to develop your ear. When I was growing up, or I should say, when I was learning piano, I wish there was apps like this around to help me with my ear training. It was just, people say you need to work on ear training, and that was kind of like, what does that mean? What do I do? And I'll try to pick up little tips and tricks here from people, and I would sit at my piano and try to do that. Having ear training apps at your disposal can really accelerate that process. For those who are visual learners, having things like MIDI players that you can then use with MIDI files to see how chords move or see exactly what someone plays, and then slow that down or transpose it, again, can help you accelerate your playing. A lot of drum beats app that allows you to develop better timing and rhythm. So there's so many apps on the market, and there's a lot that I don't even know about. But getting into the app game can certainly help you to skirt a lot of things that would generally take longer. So those are my 10 the 10 mistakes that I have identified that I find a lot of beginners and intermediates make, why their progress is significantly slower than it needs to be. So if you find yourself falling victim to a lot of these mistakes, now you know how to avoid them and how to identify them. All right? Now, I'm going to link to a lot of the things I talk about down below, the PDFs, the apps you can download, you can check those out. And if and when you're ready to take your piano playing to the next level, I would invite you to check out pianolessonwithwarren.com. It's a program that teaches you how to play by ear. And right now we're offering a free trial. So you got nothing to lose. You go over there and you can check it out and see what we do and if it's something that can help you. All right? And again, if you're new to the channel, please give us a like, a subscribe, and hit the notification bell, because little things like that really does help the channel immensely so I can continue to provide valuable content like this for you. All right? And check out this video right here to learn more about improving your skills in playing by ear as a beginner or intermediate. All right? Take care and bye for now.